the Sunday Toad experience on the Toad Cam, coming from the Toad Bunker here in New York Toad City. Why you need this stuff? Well, I'd like to bring a very basic proposition, a philosophical and psychological proposition to your attention. And it's a proposition that I think you need to consider deeply and ponder at length. And that is this: many people come to NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, or other such what are called change technologies or growth technologies, or group growth experiences, however these things are framed. But their underlying drive, you always should be asking people, what motivates this behavior? Whether you're asking this in a Freudian sense or you're asking it in a neuro-linguistic sense, it's still a very good basic question to ask. Not only is there behavior, people present behaviors, but those behaviors are the result of certain motivations. So if you're involved in one of these fields like transactional analysis, such as Eric Berne's TA and all the other descendant disciplines, a lot of them have ended up in the business literature, others in the therapeutic literature. On transactional analysis, or TA, they will be discussing motivation from certain internal identity states. So are you being motivated by a parental state? Are you being motivated by an adult state? Are you being motivated by a child state? I think this is extremely useful stuff, even in the PUA realm and the PUA community. I think anybody that's doing PUA in a high quality, useful, generalizable way is going to also be pretty good at teaching you about transactional analysis and TA and emotional transactions, and thinking of them in transactional terms. So yes, it is very much in your best interest in a multitude of realms to understand about transactional analysis. And Eric Berne, who wrote books like, I think, I'm Okay, You're Okay. Some of this stuff was really oversimplified 70s thinking, but nonetheless, it has had a meaningful, I think, lasting and useful impact. So we're asking what motivates behavior? Not only is there behavior happening, is behavior being displayed in front of us, what's behind it? What's causing it? Why does this person feel the need to say certain things? Why does this person feel the need to adopt certain subtle facial gestures? Why does this person feel the need or feel motivated, whether consciously or unconsciously? And it's very important to understand that a great deal of motivation can be happening at the unconscious fantasy level as well. And that's something that psychoanalysts are very hip to: unconscious fantasy, fantasies you're not even consciously aware of. So I will lay this thought out for your consideration. This thought is so: if you want to change, if change is meaningful for you, if you feel the need to change, or something is dysfunctional or not satisfying in your environment, or you feel trapped in a certain set of circumstances, or trapped in a family system, or trapped in an identity or a self, you cannot change any of those factors. You cannot change any of those functions without changing the way you think. You cannot change your external circumstances without changing your thought processes. And behind that, you cannot really change your thought processes until you change your fantasies, and how you go about fantasizing, and what you fantasize about, and the way you fantasize about things, and how fantasies arise for you, and what happens to you, what you do with those fantasies once they float into consciousness. Then once you sort of take a little bit more conscious control of those fantasies and start playing with them and manipulating them, what are you doing with those fantasies? So there is an unconscious that slowly realizes, if you remember the way we use that term realized in the Ross Jeffries PUA tube that I made, as those fantasies begin to realize into consciousness, and you begin to interact with those fantasies in that fantasy theater of mind, in your inner theater, in a somewhat conscious way, that is also very much going to direct your more rational or seemingly rational, higher level, surface adult self. So multiple planes of transformation and multiple planes of awareness are absolutely absolutely essential to bringing about significant change, lasting, durable, productive change that really completely changes the entire structure of your being and the structure of your experience and the structure of your life, will first have to arise in the change in the unconscious fantasies. In the second layer, the way that you consciously interact with those unconscious fantasies once they bubble up into consciousness, and you then have like a conscious capacity to witness them in your theater of consciousness, and then how that generates higher level thinking, more abstract thinking, the way that you grapple with life and your theories and your knowledge, and the kind of knowledge you feel motivated to learn and the kind of knowledge you feel demotivated not to learn, and the stuff that intimidates you and the stuff that attracts you. All of that is part of this internal ecology of the way that the early self, the child self, the infant self, the adolescent self, the adult self, the aging self are all combined. So I'm going to leave you with that thought, especially because there's this siren approaching, and we'll pick it up later.